Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be, well, playing some One Punch Man World, and I'm going to be telling you guys whether or not you should check out the game for yourselves if you're interested. Please do assist me in getting to 1,000 subscribers, we're almost there, so make sure you've hit that big white button down below. It used to be a red button, but now it's a white button, so hey, click it, get me up there, let's go. Alrighty, anyways, so, I'm going to be doing this kind of like pros and cons style for this one. I'm going to start with the pros for the game and then the cons of the game, and you'll understand why I'm doing this later, because this game has a few issues, but the game itself isn't bad, that's the problem. And you'll understand what I mean by this a little bit later on. First things first though, I'm just going to show you guys some just general gameplay, bit of combat, and explain kind of the good things about the game and then the bad things about the game. So first things first, let's just jump in and let's do some content. So this is one of the challenge modes in the game. It's called, I believe it's called Joint Actions, yep. So basically the way this works is you just jump in with your characters, you fight a boss, and that's it. And you just have like a 3-star requirement to complete. So this is the team we're going to be running here, and we're going to be going with that. Now, there is an issue with the combat that I'll talk about a bit later. It's going to be kind of hard to see this on stream. On the video recording, sorry, not on stream, but I'll talk about this later when we get to the cons part of the video. But I'll be honest, combat is actually pretty good in this game. You have your skills, you have all your teammates attacking at the same time. Some of the bosses in the game actually do require you to properly be able to dodge things, which is pretty good. I like that. They also have that like perfect dodge kind of thing there, which I think is really cool as well. And the combat system does definitely have potential to be very, very good. I will say one of my not so much favorite things with the combat system though is I'm not a fan of the system where you play as like one of the characters and the rest of your teammates are just kind of like do their own kind of thing. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I kind of prefer having full control myself, like just using one unit at a time and switching between them. You cannot do that in this game. I do not like that. However, at the same time, 𝙀𝙀𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 did it pretty well. I like that game, so it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just kind of, in my opinion, a little bit more fun if you're able to actually control the characters yourself. So this is one of the harder animations to kind of dodge with this one, because he just kind of relentlessly kind of throws them at you. But yeah, honestly, pretty good combat system, as you can probably see right here. There are some pretty well-designed bosses too, the enemy encounters are pretty good, and the combat overall feels pretty snappy when you're playing with the characters. Their movesets are good, and honestly, yeah. 𝙀𝙀𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿 is by far one of my favorite characters in the game that I've played with so far. I like the way he feels very responsive, very quick and very fast, and does some good damage. I haven't really looked into tier lists too much with this game, but overall, been having a pretty good time with playing it. So yeah, that's kind of what the combat is like. Sorry, don't know why I butchered that there. But yeah, anyways, this is kind of what the game is like in terms of the gameplay of the combat. Now, what are some other things you can do in the game? Well, you're going to have your usual like character upgrading stuff in terms of levels, potential, all those kind of things. So we'll just go over that real quick. So you can press escape at any time on PC to bring up this menu, and we're just going to go to our character list. So these are all the characters I currently have. I've actually gotten pretty lucky with some of my pulls. I got like quite a few characters in my starting stuff. Anyways, let's go into here. So if we wanted to, say, for example, develop Genos, we can come in here, we can click the upgrade button, and we can level him up. There's also limit breaking as well. However, I have not hit the required battle tier to be able to do this level up any further. In addition to that, you also have potential. If you guys have played Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, it's essentially your constellation or eidolon system. It works exactly the same way as it does in Genshin. And then you also have these merit systems. I haven't really played around with this one too much, so I'm not too sure really how this one kind of works, but it's some form of upgrade that you grind for. In addition to that, you have your memory and wills. Yet again, if you played Honkai Star Rail or Genshin, this is your relic and artifact system. And then the wills are kind of like these little upgrade talent things you can kind of slot in there. And then you have your impression arms. These are like skill modifiers that you can get. So there's a lot of stuff to this game. And think of those like your light cones or weapons from Genshin. And then obviously we have things like your pools in the game. You can summon here. I currently don't have any currency built up. I should have probably done that before the video. But sorry. I've been basically spending all my currency that I've been earning just in trying to get Tornado at the moment, because I wouldn't mind getting Tornado. She's one of my more favorite characters in the game. So let's go through and talk about the different pros and cons of this game. Oh, actually, sorry, hold on. Pause that for 1 second. I want to show you one more feature because I want to talk about it. Actually, no, we'll start the pros and cons. I can talk about this while I'm doing it. Alright, so let's start with the good things. Graphically, the game is pretty good. It manages to capture the aesthetic of the One Punch Man world. All of the characters are well designed, and there's some nice little features like the ability to, if I bring up my cursor, you can switch between any of the characters you've got as your character model for walking around the world at any given time, which is pretty nice. So for example, if I want to play as Blizzard, I can do that. I now have Blizzard as my character that's going to be walking around the world for me, which honestly, kind of sick. Like Blizzard a lot, she's awesome and she's kind of hot, let's not lie. But in terms of like the actual world, they did a very good job of making it look very nice. They did some nice little things, which I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm just going to travel to one of the city areas in the game. They did a very good job of designing these spaces and making them feel kind of like alive with like people walking around and different things kind of happening. One of the cool things that they didn't need to do was add all these different spaces you can go into. So, for example, there is an arcade building right here. We can go inside, and there is an interior. It's not just a menu screen looking at you Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And it's a very, very well-designed, nice interior space. And there is an arcade game you can play called Panzer Cyborg. One complaint with this system, though, that's the only one in the game. I would have liked if there were a few more arcade games, but that it's the only one. You can do it, though, because there are some things you can essentially acquire from this, like some general kind of resources and rewards. And yeah, there's just little activities to do scattered throughout the world. There's also like the nightmare challenges, which anytime you see like a red diamond kind of marker on the map, like this one over here, you can basically come over here and you can talk to the incoming spectators and you'll be able to do a challenge mode with the boss. And they usually have some kind of like interesting like 3-star kind of requirement, or actually I believe these ones are 6-star requirements. Yeah. So they have different difficulty levels, different challenge levels, and you can come in here and it'll say like, clear the stage with the whole team above 50% HP, etc, etc. Clear the stage with no more than 3 traps activated. So I'm assuming this boss is going to trigger some kind of traps or something. But overall, very well designed, very nice looking game. Got to give it credit for that. Secondly, combat system. If you like your action RPG combat systems in like games like Punishing Grey Raven or those kind of ones, it feels very similar in the way those kind of games kind of play. Just a little bit more on the clunky side, and this is what I'm going to kind of get at with a lot of the things in this game. This game feels like decently high quality, like the same kind of level as all the other kind of big high quality action games you would have played, like your Genshins, your Punishing Grey Ravens, your Aether Gazers, but it just feels that little bit more budget than everything else out there, and that's kind of what I feel with this game. It's not an S tier game. It's like a low A tier, high B tier kind of game, if that makes sense. Which doesn't mean it's bad. It's pretty fun. This is a fun game, I will state that. And yeah, so gameplay wise, character upgrading wise, graphics wise, and the amount of effort they put into actually making this like a fun space to explore and look around in, good job, honestly. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the good things kind of end right there, because this is where the issues started coming to play, and you don't notice these things early on unless you're one of the people that was having launch issues with the game. So for those of you who are unaware, I'm just going to bring up my Discord real quick. Just give me a sec. Okie dokie. So, where are we? So this is the official Discord server for One Punch Man World. If we go down here into the bug reporting, well, you can see what I'm going to address. And if you look at the scroll bar up here, you can see the problem. The game has only been out for like not even a week, and we just got a new post updated just then. This game has had so many launch issues that it is actually kind of ridiculous. And I kind of knew what this was going to happen in advance because this is Crunchyroll Games publishing this. They're kind of not very good with this kind of stuff. But there's been crashes, people not being able to log into the game, accounts being banned for like literally no reason, just like bugs with like ultimates, not being able to like name like just like every kind of thing. There is so many bugs in this game that it is honestly ridiculous. Now, I myself personally have not run into too many of the bugs. I've ran into quite a few. I ran into one game-breaking one where I literally had to wait to be able to continue doing the thing. There was like, in the arcade game, there was a bug with one of the arcades where you could not progress past a certain point. There was also a section in the story where you needed to like clear a certain amount of stars and something, and it wouldn't do it. And yeah, honestly, been having fun with the game, but it's have a multitude of bugs and issues. just be mishandled by the publisher itself. So be ready for that if it does happen. Second issue, and you may or may not have noticed it when I've been playing on the PC. I am playing on PC in case you guys didn't wonder. You might be seeing some performance and stuttering issues. It's not too bad in the open world or like interior kind of sections, but this game is pretty horribly optimized for what it is. And for example, I'm running on a 3060 Ti system on my PC with the AMD 37X. I don't have a bad system. I have a pretty decent system. I can run both Genshin and Star Rail 120 FPS on my computer. I'm using an FPS sound cappers for those, just letting you know that. But I can play both of those flawlessly. This game, I can't. It's like, it's constantly, you guys can't see the FPS counter I've got, but it's constantly fluctuating between like 70 and 90 FPS in this space, which is not bad, by the way. But the problem comes into play when we go into combat. So I'm actually going to go into some combat so I can kind of, you guys aren't going to be able to see this because the YouTube video is going to be capped to 60 FPS. And like at the end of the day, it's just 60 FPS. It's having 60 FPS fine. You don't need anything more than that. It's just a nicer to have kind of thing. I can still play the game and enjoy it without this. But it's a bit of a weird issue because everywhere else in the game, there's uncapped FPS. But as soon as, for some reason, as soon as you jump into any form of combat, doesn't matter what it is or what you're doing, the game gets to this like subs. It feels, it's running like, it's fluctuating between like 60 and 50 FPS in here. And I don't really understand or know why. Like, the FPS is all of a sudden just capped. It's not running... you guys look smooth on your end because you're all seeing it at 60 FPS. It does not feel smooth on my end. Because it's not just the game is, like, capped at 60 FPS in combat. Even though it says in the settings you can uncap it. But it's not just that. It's doing some weird, like, engine thing where it feels laggier. It doesn't even feel like 60 FPS. It feels like the game is running at 30 FPS. And my FPS counter right now says it's technically running at 134 FPS, 120 FPS right now. You guys can't see it yet again, so you're gonna take my word for it. But something weird is going on with the frame rate in the combat in this game. I don't really know what it is. It's a little bit on the strange side. So basically, most of the problems of this game boil down to optimization and fixing bugs. They're the two biggest things of this game, and this game is having real issues with that at the moment. And then there's a few other things as well. There's a couple of design choices that I'm just kind of like scratching my head going, what? Alright, so I haven't gotten obviously enormously far into the story yet because I wasn't able to play the game for 2, 3, 4 days. I was one of those people that wasn't able to log into the game, by the way. But I'm up to, I believe, chapter 2, I think it is. I'm not too sure because it doesn't actually tell me what quest I'm on. Point is, the first chapter in the game felt really, really odd. The story was, I'm just gonna be real with you, is kind of shit. I was kind of expecting them to follow, you know, the anime and the manga story. They didn't start doing that initially. They did that, that's kind of started in chapter 2. But this game does this really weird thing where it transitions between these, like, side heroes. So it transitions between, like, a story with, like, this girl, this guy, and the Unpun Man, whatever the frick that is. It transitions between the story with those three and the actual story, and then there's a chapter with those three and an actual story, and it's just kind of weird because the story with the three, like, side kind of hero things is just not really a story at all. It's just, like, there to, like, introduce gameplay mechanics, but they also say it's a main story chapter, so it's really kind of off-putting and weird at first. When you start the game, you're like, this game has shit story, and then you get to chapter 2, it's like, oh, that's where the story is. So now it's, oh, no, we're back to these three hero, what's going on? It's just a really odd way of doing it. It's not so much that this content is bad. I just feel like it should have been pushed to the side and like a side kind of mission thing where you unlock like the stuff and not being part of the literal main story quest line. Because like if we look at the quest line right now, this is a main story quest and this is one of the ones I'm talking about where you're doing things with these guys. There's very little dialogue writing. It's really just like, hey, here's this new gameplay system. Hey, there's this new thing kind of thing. These should be in tutorial stages, not the main story. However, you can kind of somewhat understand it, though, because I don't believe there's actually a huge amount of, hold on, how do I bring it up again? This is the other problem. I'm going to get to the next issue I have with this game in a minute. Just figuring out the fucking buttons for shit. I know there's a button for it, I just don't remember where. Team Pristine, level up preview? No. Okay, doesn't matter. There's story quests. I can't remember how to get to the menu that does it, but yeah. Kind of a little bit weird in delivery. Not too much of an issue, though, because the actual... when they copy the actual anime story, it's fine. But a little bit on the weird side in the way they executed that. Another kind of issue I have, and this one's a big one, because I really don't like it when games don't have quality of life. Okay, for example, if you want to go to do one of these nightmare things, or you want to come to the cinema cinema video game, or you want to go grind one of the essentially relic or artifact equivalents in this game, there's no fast traveling directly to these NPCs. If you want to go do the thing, as far as I'm aware, I can't find a menu button for this. If there's a menu button, I will happily be wrong. Tell me in the comments below, because I just want to be able to do it myself. But I literally could not find a menu button for this. So say, for example, I'm in City A, and I want to go grind some relics artifacts equivalent in this game. I have to go back to the Hero Association, go move here, go for a loading screen, as you guys are seeing right now, and then I have to, I believe it's, can I even fast travel up to the top section? No, there's not even a, you start navigate. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. So then I also have to walk up this thing, I have to go to the elevator, teleport up here, go over to the arms room, and then I can start doing this chip upgrading stuff. Like, this is stupid, I'm sorry. Why do I have to come, like, why can't I just, like, go into the character menu, click develop, and then click memory and will? Like, unless I'm blind and I'm not seeing the option to upgrade these things from here, there's like a reforge option, but that's not the option that, like, there's no leveling up, there's like no rank thing. It's like you have to go literally to this NPC to access this menu, this thing here, to be able to exchange and do all this stuff. Like, why is this not a button? Like, I tried looking for it too, and I genuinely couldn't find it, and it just seems like such an odd thing. Like, why is there not just a button to take me straight here for something that could very clearly be an important part of the game? And I haven't logged this as well, but doesn't seem to be a menu thing to interact with. It's just like, it's so confusing to me, because there's not like a, unless I'm just like actually blind and I can't find the menu for it, or maybe it's bugged or something. I legitimately can't find like the content gameplay button options menu where you have to like actually be able to do things. Like, the only one I can find is for the team prestiges, but these are just like the minigame things. So this one will do like the cinema, and then it'll take me to the cinema. That's fine. But why is it not a thing for like the relic and artifact grinding, or like the joint action? So if I go, I've got to go, like, holy crap, I got to go all the way back now. I can't even teleport from the cinema either. It just doesn't make sense. And yet again, I don't want to be too harsh on the game, because I actually do think the game is good, and it has good bones, and I do actually like the game the way it plays. But like, the fact that every single time I want to go back to the Seeya Association to be able to do anything, I have to go to the freaking terminal to be able to do it, which is dumb. I mean, you can teleport within the map, but like, for example, why can't I even go to like the world map? There's no like, how do I, dude, it's silly. Like, I can teleport to here and go to area movement, and then it's just, it doesn't do anything. Like, why can't I teleport to the joint action terminal, which is going to be one of the core pieces of content? I have to literally go to the fast travel terminal, walk here, go there, and it's like, and don't get me wrong, when other games do that, that's fine, when it's like an open world RPG, but that's because there are things to do along the way when you're exploring, so you don't necessarily want to be fast traveling between things. But in this game, outside like a couple of collectibles, there's no reason to be walking between spaces. There should just be a direct teleport to this thing, to the relic grinding stuff, all them things. It's just not a thing, and it frustrates me, because it's like, there's so much time you can save during this game if they just had buttons or ways of teleporting directly to these things. And yet again, if I'm wrong and there is a way to do it, please enlighten me in the comments below, because I want to know how to do it if there is a way. But like, I legitimately cannot find it if there's a button for it. And if there is a button for it, holy crap, is it just not clear, like, at all. Like, it's just, it's stupid. I don't understand. Like, there's, alright, anyways. I don't want to hate too much on this. It just seems very stupid to me that there's not like a combat button. There's like a story button. This is what I'm trying to find before. And can you even teleport with these nightmare things? Okay. So, alright, at least you can cue the nightmare things and the story, but why with joint action? Why there's certain, I actually didn't want to do this, hold up. It just confuses me that there are certain buttons that just don't, maybe it does exist, and maybe I'm just stupid. That's very possible. But like, fuck me, it's not clear where these things are meant to be. It's just very poorly designed kind of interface. Let me just have a little bit of a look for a little bit longer, because maybe there is a way to queue these things. And this is all talking about the story. These are like the episode stories of like actually following the anime. In between each of these, there's like these filler missions, which are just stupid and boring. And look, it's entirely possible that I haven't unlocked it yet, the ability to like just immediately teleport to these things, but yeah, I'm going to stop hating on this too much because I'm assuming there might be a way to do it. But anyways, it's not clear. Whatever, moving on. But yeah, that's kind of it with this game. It's pretty fun, good game, but there's just a myriad of issues that kind of annoy me with like some quality of life things, the bugs, and just the performance issues and stuff as well. It just, I don't know. I like this game. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to keep covering it. It does not mean I'm going to stop. But yeah, and to answer your question, if you're okay with putting up with these things for now, or just waiting because these things will likely be fixed in the future, I do recommend checking out the game. The game does still have some pretty good qualities to it. Just be wary that you're going to have to put up with a lot of issues going forward for now, for at least a little foreseeable future for a little bit. But yeah, game fun. Issues though, a little bit flawed, but still good is my takeaway from the game. Anyways, guys, hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys in another video another time. Bye, guys.